Scorpio, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't need to say the name, describe the situation, or explain the details. You already felt a tightness in your chest when you read the title of this video because your soul instantly recognized it. The time has come. What you've been pushing under the rug, locked away in the back of your mind, hidden behind 1,000 excuses and justifications, is knocking on your door demanding to be confronted. And this time, there's nowhere left to run. You who face the fears of others with such courage, who delve into emotional depths that most people don't even dare to touch, you have a secret you're keeping. There's something in your own life that you've been avoiding looking directly in the eye. A truth you know, but pretend not to know. A decision that needs to be made, but you keep postponing. A conversation that needs to happen, but you find 1,000 reasons not to have it. A feeling that needs to be felt, but you bury it deeper and deeper. And the most interesting thing is that you're a master at seeing this in others. You can instantly identify when someone is running away from themselves, when they're living in denial, when they're hiding behind masks. But when it comes to you, you've used all your power of transformation not to transform yourself, but to postpone that transformation. All your control not to evolve, but to keep things exactly as they are in this specific area of your life. Why? Because what you're avoiding isn't something superficial. It's not a small challenge that can be easily solved. It's something that, when you finally face it, will irreversibly change you. And change, even though you are the sign of transformation, is frightening. Especially when that change means letting die a part of yourself that has been your companion for so long. A part you know well, even if it limits you. A part that gives you a false sense of control, even if that control is preventing you from living fully. Can you feel the weight of this truth that you carry and pretend not to carry? The universe has a very particular way of dealing with Scorpios who avoid their own transformations. It doesn't force, push, or invade. It simply increases the pressure gradually until you can no longer ignore it. And you're feeling that pressure growing, aren't you? In recent weeks, perhaps months, it has become increasingly difficult to maintain the illusion. Increasingly heavy to carry this burden of something unresolved. Increasingly tiring to maintain this facade that everything is under control, when inside you know it isn't. The time has come because you've finally reached your limit, the point where continuing to avoid it will cost you more than facing it. The moment when the pain of remaining in the current situation has overcome the fear of change. And you know this, deep down, you know. That's why this video has reached you now. It's not a coincidence. It's your own soul using the universe to give you the final push you need. Now I'm going to ask you some direct questions, and you don't need to answer me. You need to answer yourself with complete honesty. Is there someone in your life to whom you need to tell the truth, but you've been avoiding it because you know that truth will change everything between you? Is there a part of you that needs to be expressed, but you keep it hidden because you're afraid of being judged, rejected, or misunderstood? Is there a destructive pattern that you repeat endlessly, knowing it's destructive, but you keep returning to it because at least it's familiar? Is there forgiveness you need to give to another person or to yourself, but you refuse because you feel that forgiving would be weakness? Is there a dream you abandoned and pretend doesn't matter anymore, but that still throbs inside you, begging to be lived? Is there a relationship you maintain out of fear of loneliness, even knowing it imprisons you more than it liberates you? Is there an old anger you nurture as if it protects you, when in reality it only consumes you from the inside? Is there a version of yourself that you kill a little each day to fit other people's expectations? Whatever your answer to these questions is, and you know what it is, this is the issue that's time to confront it. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when conditions are perfect. Now, because here's a brutal truth you need to hear. You will never feel completely ready to face this. There will never be a moment when you wake up and think, today is the perfect day to do the hardest thing in my life. That moment doesn't exist. You are prepared when you will be, And delaying any longer will only make things harder. Are you willing to stop waiting for the perfect moment and find courage in the imperfect moment? Scorpio, let me tell you something about your nature that you may not have fully realized. You were made to die and be reborn, not once but repeatedly throughout your life. Every time you face your deepest fears, every time you descend into your own inner hell and return transformed, you are fulfilling your purpose in life. But when you avoid this process, when you refuse to die to be reborn, you remain trapped in a version of yourself that should have been transcended long ago. And this eats away at you from the inside in a way you can't always identify. It manifests as constant restlessness, a feeling that something is out of place, a dissatisfaction you can't fully name. You can try to numb it in 1,000 ways, through overwork, intense but empty relationships, subtle or obvious addictions, obsessive control over insignificant aspects of life. But deep down, you know that none of that solves anything, because the problem isn't external. It's internal. It's something inside you that's screaming to be seen, felt, transformed. For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, what you've been avoiding is expressing vulnerability. You've built such high walls around your heart that even you can no longer fully access it. It's time to demolish those walls and allow someone or yourself to truly see you. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, what you're avoiding is letting go of control. You've been trying to orchestrate every detail of your life and the lives of those around you, and this is exhausting you. It's time to trust the natural flow of things. And for those born between November 13th and 22nd, you've been avoiding recognizing and expressing your true power, because deep down, you're afraid of what might happen if you truly allow yourself to shine without holding back. The urgent need to stop using your intensity to avoid instead of to transform. You have all this power, all this depth, all this ability to see beyond appearances, and you have been using it to keep yourself trapped instead of freeing yourself. The time has come to redirect this force in the right direction, towards your own healing, your own evolution, your own liberation. Are you ready to finally use all this power you have in your favor instead of against yourself? Now I'm going to tell you what will happen when you finally face what you've been avoiding. And pay attention, because this is important. At first, it will be uncomfortable. It may even be painful, because you'll be touching a wound that you've kept covered for so long that it never had a chance to truly heal. You'll feel everything you've been avoiding feeling, and it will be intense, because with Scorpio, everything is intense. But here's what happens after that first wave of discomfort: freedom. A freedom so profound that you'll wonder how you ever lived so long without it. Because when you finally face what you feared, when you cross through the fear instead of dancing around it, you discover that on the other side, there is no monster as you imagined. There is only you, more whole, more real, more powerful than ever. You'll discover that what you've been avoiding confronting is consuming far more energy than the act of confronting it. All the energy you spent keeping this situation hidden, building defenses around it, creating justifications for not dealing with it, all of that can be redirected to building a life that truly makes sense to you. And more than that, you will experience the true power of Scorpio, which is not the power to control, manipulate, or dominate. It is the power to transform. To take what is dead or dying within you and allow it to die completely, so that something new and alive can be born in its place. That is your gift, your specialty, your reason for being. But you can only fully exercise this gift when you are willing to go through the process yourself first. The transformation you will experience when you finally confront what you have been avoiding will not just be about resolving that specific situation. It will be about discovering who you truly are when you stop wasting energy hiding from yourself. It will be about reclaiming pieces of yourself that were left behind along the way. It will be about integrating your shadow instead of fighting against it. It will be about accepting your complete nature, both the light and the darkness, and discovering that both are necessary for you to be who you were meant to be. Scorpio, I know you're afraid, not the obvious fear anyone would have. You're afraid of what you'll discover about yourself when you finally look at what you've been avoiding, afraid that maybe you're not as strong as you thought, afraid that maybe you won't be able to cope, afraid that maybe you'll lose yourself in the process. But let me tell you a secret. You are stronger than anything you're facing. You always have been. You always will be. Scorpio's strength isn't in never falling, never breaking, never feeling pain. It's in the ability to get through the fall, the break, the pain, and emerge on the other side transformed. You don't need to have all the answers before you begin. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to wait until you feel invincible. You just need to take the first step towards what you've been avoiding, and the rest will reveal itself in the process. And here's something crucial you need to understand. The more you postpone confronting this, the harder it becomes. Not because the situation itself necessarily worsens, but because you build even more layers of defense around it, more justifications, more rationalizations, more stories you tell yourself about why now is not the time. Every day that passes, you become more invested in the current version of your life, even if it suffocates you, and it becomes harder to imagine another possibility. But deep down, you know that this time was going to come eventually. You always knew. Because Scorpio can't live indefinitely avoiding transformation. It's against their nature. It's like trying to hold your breath forever. Eventually, you'll have to let it out. The only difference is whether you let it out by conscious choice or because you were forced by circumstances. And trust me, it's much better to choose consciously than to be forced by life. Situations that force you to look at what you've been avoiding. People who mention related topics by coincidence. Dreams that bring to light exactly what you've been trying to bury. Emotions that arise without warning, demanding to be felt. Don't ignore these signs. They are the universe giving you gentle opportunities to deal with this before it becomes an inevitable crisis. Because here's the truth, if you don't choose to face this now of your own free will, life will eventually create a situation where you will have no choice. That's how it works with Scorpio themes. What needs to die will die whether you consciously participate in the process or not. But when you participate consciously, you can guide the transformation. You can choose what dies and what is reborn. You can be the alchemist of your own life instead of the victim of forces that seem external but are merely reflections of unresolved internal conflicts. Do you prefer to be the agent of your transformation or be transformed against your will? Scorpio, let me tell you about courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling fear and choosing to act anyway. And at this moment in your life, the bravest action you can take is to look directly at what you have been avoiding, not with judgment, not with anger at yourself for avoiding it for so long, but with compassionate honesty, acknowledging, yes, I have been avoiding this. Yes, I am afraid, but the time has come to stop running away. And when you do that, when you finally stop running and turn to face whatever is chasing you, something magical happens. You discover that it wasn't as big as it seemed when you were running away. Because everything seems bigger in the shadows, when you refuse to illuminate. But when you turn on the light, when you look directly, you see things for what they really are. And most of the time, they are manageable, they are human, they are transformable. The truth you're avoiding, the decision you need to make, the conversation you need to have, the feeling you need to feel, the forgiveness you need to give, the dream you need to pursue, the relationship you need to end or save, the anger you need to release, the vulnerability you need to show, whatever it is for you, is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the gateway to the next version of yourself. It's the price of admission to a more authentic, more powerful, more vibrant life. What I'm about to ask you is very simple, but it might be the hardest thing you've ever done. Stop for a moment and admit to yourself with complete honesty what it is that you've been avoiding. Say it out loud if you can. Write it down on paper. Tell someone you trust. Take it out of the nebulous zone of unformulated thoughts and bring it into concrete reality. Because as long as you keep it in the fog, you can continue pretending you don't know exactly what it's about. But when you put it into words, when you name the thing, it becomes real. And once it becomes real, you can begin to deal with it. I know part of you wants to close this video now and go back to the comfortable distractions that allow you to avoid it a little longer. But another part of you, the part that's tired of carrying this weight, the part that's ready for transformation, the part that's brave even when afraid, that part is begging you to keep watching, to keep listening, to finally take the first step towards your own liberation. Which part will you listen to? Scorpio, you have all the power you need to overcome whatever you need to overcome. You always have. The only thing missing is the decision to use that power. And that decision needs to be made now, not because I'm saying so, but because you know deep down in your soul that you can't live like this anymore. You can't carry this weight anymore. You can't pretend everything is all right when it's not. You can't waste your life avoiding truly living anymore. When you finally confront what you've been avoiding, you'll discover something surprising. Other people around you will begin to go through their own transformations as well, because your courage to look at your own shadows gives permission for others to do the same. Your process of death and rebirth inspires others to go through their own processes. You become a living example that it's possible to go through hell and come back stronger. And isn't that what Scorpio came to do in this world? Isn't that its role? Aren't you the sign that isn't afraid to descend into the depths, to touch upon truths that others avoid, to transform poison into medicine? But you can only do this for others when you've already done it for yourself. You can only guide others through the darkness when you've already traversed your own darkness and returned with the map. The time has come not only to confront what you've been avoiding, but to fully embrace your role as a transformer, to stop using your power to keep things stagnant and start using it to catalyze profound change, to stop fearing your own intensity and begin channeling it into creation and renewal, to stop hiding your wounds and start transforming them into wisdom that can help others. In the coming days, you will have specific opportunities to confront what you have been avoiding. Recognize these opportunities when they arise. Don't let them pass by saying, "It's not the right time," or "I'll do it later," because later never comes for those who are avoiding. There's always a new excuse, a new reason to postpone. It's time to stop postponing. And when you take that first step, and you know what that first step is, even if you're pretending you don't expect it to be easy or comfortable. It will be challenging. It will shake you up. It will temporarily destabilize things that seem stable. But on the other side of that destabilization lies a much truer stability, built not on avoidance and control, but on authenticity and acceptance. Scorpio, this is your moment. Not because the stars have aligned in a specific way, not because a magical date has arrived on the calendar, but because you've reached the limit of what you can bear without confronting it. Because your soul is screaming for transformation. Because you deserve to live fully instead of just partially surviving. Because the time has come. Share in the comments, even if it's just "I understand," so that other Scorpios feel they're not alone in this process of finally facing what they've been avoiding. Subscribe to the channel now, because you'll need support and guidance during the transformation process that's beginning. You'll need reminders that it's normal for the process to be intense, that you're not alone, and that there is light on the other side of this journey. Turn on notifications so you don't miss content that will strengthen you during this crucial phase of your evolution. The time has come to face what you've been avoiding for so long, not because it will be easy, but because it will be worth it. Because on the other side of this confrontation lies a version of you that doesn't live in fear, that doesn't hide, that doesn't waste energy running away from itself. A version that uses all its Scorpio power to transform, create, heal, evolve. This version is waiting for you, and it can only emerge when you finally have the courage to let die what needs to die inside you.